plus 1
1 minute
into s plus 3. K into s plus 6 divided by s plus 1 into s plus 3.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Now, step 1. What is the step 1? We need to locate poles and zeros. Poles and zeros. Now, the question is given as g of s into h of s is equals to k into s plus 6 divided by s plus 1 into s plus 3. Right. Now, first we shall go with the zeros. Number of zeros will be 1 because s is equals to minus 6. S is equals to minus 6. This is one pole in the numerator. Sorry, 1 0. It is in the numerator. S is equals to minus 6. Then we shall go with the poles. In the poles, we have 2 poles. Right? In that, in the denominator, we have s plus 1 into
Minus
s plus
1, minus 3.
So s is equals to minus 1 and minus 3. Right. So we got poles as 2 and zeros as 1. Right. This is what we need to know in this. So I shall locate that in the S plane. So in the S plane, I have considered scale as x-axis 1 centimeter is equals to 1 unit, as in the y-axis is also same, 1 centimeter is equals to 1 unit. Right. So when I consider this one, we have s is equals to minus 6 is the 0 here. Right. So first I shall go with the poles minus 1 and minus 3. So this will be 0. This is equals to s is equals to minus 1 is the pole. S is equals to minus 1 and one more is minus 3 here. S is equals to minus 3 here. Right. These are the 2 poles and 0 we have as minus 6. So go here 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is 0. So see here 0 I am locating with a 0 sign here. Right. In the 0 sign I'll be locating here with the circle. Small circle I'll be locating that. S is equals to minus 6. This is the 0 here. And this is how we will be locating the poles and zeros here. Right. Now, what is the next step? Next step is to find out the number of branches and its direction here. Step 2 is to find number of branches and its direction. Right. Number of branches, how can I find out number of branches here? Number of branches will be P or Z. Number of branches will be P or Z, whichever is greater here. See here, poles we have 2, so P is greater than Z here. So number of branches will be 2. Number of branches will be 2 here. So I can write 2 as N. N is equals to number of branches as 2 here. Right. So the starting point will be the poles here. Starting point will be the poles. So roots of poles are minus 1 and minus 3. These are the starting point and terminating points. Terminating points will be the zeros, right? So here 0 we have minus 6. Minus 6 is one terminating points and we don't have any other 0. So I can consider the terminating point as infinity here. Terminating point as infinity here.
Minus
Right.
infinity.
This is minus infinity or plus infinity. We don't know whether it is going to minus infinity or plus infinity. So we shall consider just an infinity here. Right. Then step 3 is to determine the number of asymptote and its asymptote angle here, right? Step 3 is to find the asymptote and its angle. Right. To find out asymptote, that is Q is equals to P minus Z. These are the asymptote here. So P we have as 2 and Z we have as 1 here. P we have as 2 and Z is 1. So this becomes 1 here. So number of asymptote will be 0. right? Number of asymptote will be, that is q is equals to 0 only here. And that is what the asymptote here. So angle of asymptote is given by phi a is equals to 2q plus 1 into 180 divided by p minus z. And this is the formula what we have. So substitute the value of this one q and p and pz here. So 2 into 0 minus 1 into 180 divided by 1 here. So the asymptote angle will be 180 divided by 1, that is 180 degree only. Right? We got asymptote angle, that is phi a is 180 degree only. Only one asymptote angle what we have, that is 180 degree here. Right? That means now the roots will be there only on the real axis here. 180 degree means it will be on the real axis here. Right? This is where it will be terminating here. Right? Now next step 4. Step 4, we need to find out the centroid. To find out centroid, what is the formula we have? Centroid is the summation of real parts of pole minus summation of real parts of zeros divided by number of poles minus number of zeros here. Right? Summation of real parts of pole. Real parts of pole we have as -1 and -3. These are the real parts of pole. So I'll write as -1, -1 and -3. These are the summation of real parts of pole minus summation of real parts of zeros. Real parts of 0 is -6. Only we have is the -6 here. -6 divided by number of poles is 2. Number of poles is 2. Number of zeros is 1 here. Right. So this becomes 3 plus 1, 4. 4 minus of 6 becomes minus of -6 becomes 2. 2 divided by 1 becomes 2 here. So centroid will be what? It will be only 2 here. Centroid will be only 2 here. So we shall mark these things. That is centroid is 2 and angle of that one will be 180 degree. Right. So centroid is 2 plus positive 2 here. Right. Centroid I'll mark here as 2 here. This is the centroid here. This is the centroid. Zeta is equals to 2. Centroid is 2 and angle will be in this direction only, 180 degree. Here it will be in this direction only. Right. This is the angle of centroid here. That is phi a is what? Is equals to 180 degree here. Phi a is 180 degree here. This is the angle of centroid here. Right. We got the centroid as 2 and asymptote angle is 180 degree. This is how we'll be marking in S plane. Right. Now, what is step 5? Step 5 is to find out, is to determine where does the root locus crosses the imaginary axis. Right. That is step 5. Step 5 is to determine the segment of real axis which belongs to root locus. Okay. Determine the segment of real axis which belongs to root locus here, which belongs to root locus. Now, how to do that one? First, we need to consider the poles and zeros here, right? We need to consider any two poles or any two zeros or any two poles and zeros here. At first, we shall go with -1 and -3 here. -1 and -3. Towards right of this one, we don't have any poles, so we'll be considering only -1 and -3 here. So in between -1 and -3 here, right? So to do that one, what we need to do, we need to cover up towards the left of -3 and -3 also. We need to cover up -3 and towards left of -3, towards right of -3, that is s is equals to -3. How many poles plus zeros are there? We need to count. So we have only one pole, that is s is equals to -1. So number of poles plus zeros, is equals to 1 here towards right of that one. So this is odd, hence the root locus exists. Right? Hence the root locus exists. Next, between -3 and -6, in between -3 and -6, we need to find out the root locus here. So in between -3 and minus 6 here. So poles plus zeros. Here, how many poles plus zeros we have towards right of minus 6 we need to count. So we need to neglect minus 6 and count towards the right of that. So we have minus 3 and minus 1. So there are two poles. So we have only two poles here. We have only two poles here. This is even. So root locus does not exist. Right, root locus doesn't exist here. Right. Next, in between minus 6 and minus infinity here, right, towards minus 6 and minus infinity, towards this side. So towards minus infinity, I'll be covering up and count towards the right of this. So we have minus 6, 1, 0, minus 3, 1 pole, minus 1, second pole. So we have two poles. We have two poles. Poles plus 0 will be 2 plus 1. For 2 poles and 1 0, this is odd. This is odd. I can write root locus exist here. Root locus exist here. So with this, we can conclude in between minus 1 and minus 3, the root locus exists, and minus 6 and minus infinity, we have the root locus here, right? That means in between these two, we have the root locus here. Minus 3 and minus 1, we have the root locus. Minus 6 and minus infinity, towards left of this, we have the root locus. But in between minus 6 and minus 3, we don't have the root locus here. Right, we got to know the root locus will be starting from the poles. That is, this is the direction of root locus here, and from here, this is the direction of root locus here, and the root locus will terminate at zeros here. So this will be the direction of root locus here. This will be the direction of root locus. So we need to know here there will be a breakaway point, right? Here will be the breakaway point between these two root locus. These two poles, we have the root locus, so there will be a breakaway point, and here there will be a break in point, right? That means one root will be coming and terminating somewhere here, and it will come to the zero, right? This is what we need to find out here. Next step, that is the step number 6 here. Step 6 is to determine the breakaway point and break in point. Breakaway and break in point, if any. This is not necessary that a root locus should consider a breakaway or break in point. If it is available, we need to find out. If any, we need to find out that, right? So for this, what equation, it is given by 1 plus g of s into h of s here, which is equals to 0, right? Here 1 plus g of s into h of s is given by k into s plus 6 divided by s plus 1 into s plus 3 here. K into s plus 6 divided by s 6 divided by s plus 1 into s plus 3. This is the characteristic equation, right? First, we shall solve the characteristic equation. So to solve the characteristic equation, what I'll do, I'll multiply the denominators I'll multiply the denominators, that is s square plus 3s plus s plus 3 plus k into s plus 6 is equals to 0, right? So after this, I can write here as s square plus 4s plus 3 plus k into s plus k into 6, right? So this I can write as, or else I'll write in the same manner better, because we need to find out in terms of k here. So k into s plus 6 here is equals to 0, right? So this is our term. I can write this one as, I need to differentiate this in terms of dk divided by ds, right? I need to differentiate this in terms of dk divided by ds. So I write this equation in terms of k. So how I'll get k into s plus 6 is equals to minus s square minus 4s minus 3. So k is equals to minus s square minus 4s minus 3 whole divided by s plus 6. This is what we have written in terms of k. Right. Now I need to differentiate this. That is dk divided by ds. That should be equated to 0 here. Right. So when I differentiate this in terms of dk divided by ds, what I'll get? dk divided by ds here. Right. So how can I differentiate this one? First, denominator into differentiation of numerator minus numerator into differentiation of denominator we need to do. Right. Divided by denominator square. So denominator here is s plus 6 into differentiation of numerator. So differentiation of numerator will be minus 2s square minus 4. Here the differentiation of a constant is 0 here, minus s square minus of minus s square minus 4s minus 3
Yeah,
into
square
differentiation
barla,
of,
sir.
yeah, sorry, this is not a square barabila. Yeah, right. Yeah, fine. Right. Now differentiation of denominator is s plus 6. So here it will be only 1 whole divided by denominator square is s plus 6 whole square. Right. So we need to simplify this. So simplifying this, s into s is minus 2s square minus 4s and then minus 12s minus 24 here, right? Minus 24, right? Then minus into minus becomes plus here, so I can directly write here plus, so no need confusion, plus s square plus 4s plus 3 whole divided by s plus 6 whole square. Now this should be equated to 0 here. So here I'll get minus 2s square minus 12 plus 4. This becomes 12 plus 4 is
Sir, minus
16.
1x square, sir.
Yeah, I'll just continue this. 16s minus 24 plus s square plus 4s plus 3 is equals to 0. Denominator I have multiplied it 0. So this becomes just minus s square minus 16 minus 4 becomes 12s minus 24 minus 3 becomes 21. 21 is equals to 0. So this I can write as s plus s square plus 12s plus 12, sorry, plus 21 is equals to 0. Right, this we got. Now we need to find out the root of this equation. Now find out the roots of this equation. Find out roots of this equation. What you will get? Minus 9.87 and minus 2.12.
1, 2, sir.
127 you will get. So I can write as 13. Right. So these are the points where it crosses the imaginary axis. Right. But here you can
Sir,
here
ಅದು
you can see
denominator ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೆ ಸರ್? ಅದು denominator
denominator 0 ಜೊತೆ multiply ಆಗುತ್ತಪ್ಪ. I'll be carrying that in the right hand side. I'll be taking that in towards the right hand side. 0 into this becomes 0 alva. This equation is equal to 0. Got it?
yes sir.
Yeah. So we got 2 points here, right? See here what we got. First one is minus 2.13. 2.13 we need to mark here. 2.13 we need to mark here. So I'll mark 2.13 is somewhere, this one. 2.13 is somewhere here. 2.13 is somewhere here. This is s is equals to 2.13 here, minus 2.13 here, right? Then next one is S is equals to got minus 9.87, minus 9.87. So this is 6, 7, 8, 9. This is 9.87 is somewhere here, right? This is S is equals to minus 9.87 here, minus 9.87. So we got two values, S is equals to 2.13 and S is equals to 9.87. What are these? What are these? These are a valid breakaway or break-in point, right? Because in between minus 3 and minus 1, we have a root locus exist. So this is a valid breakaway point. Why I will be considering this as breakaway point? Because this is lying in between two poles. This is lying in between two poles. This is breakaway point here. Right? This is a breakaway point here. Why? Because this is lying in between the two poles where the root locus exists, right? Next, here S is equals to minus 9.875. This is a break-in point. Why will be considering this as break-in point? Because here the root locus exists. That means a root is coming towards this and terminating to 0, and another root is terminating towards infinity. Another root is terminating towards infinity here. So here the root locus exists here. So this is a valid break-in point and this is a valid break-away point. Listen, be careful with this. Why I'll be considering this as breakaway point? Because this is lying, in between two poles here. This is lying in between two poles here. And when I come to S is equals to minus 9.87, this is lying in between two zeros. Here we have one zero and another zero is at infinity. And it is lying in between infinity here. And both the cases, the root locus is existing. Both the points, the root locus is existing. So this becomes a valid breakaway point and this becomes a valid break-in point. Got this? Can move further. Breakaway and break-in point.
So once more time, sir.
See here what we have. We have two poles. Pole is at minus 1 and pole is at minus 3. That means the root locus is starting from the pole. Root locus is starting from the pole. So one root is coming, that is minus 3 is coming towards the right of this and minus 1 is coming towards the left of this. So at one point, the root locus is merging, that is minus 2.13, and it is breaking away from these 2 points. It is breaking away from these 2 points here. We don't know how it is moving. We need to check that one also next. Okay, it is one root is going like this, another root is going like this. Right. So these two are a valid break. This is a valid breakaway point. Right. Next, coming on to this one. Right. Here minus 9.87. Here the root locus exists. That is minus 6 and minus infinity. The root locus is present. Minus 6 and minus infinity. The root locus is present. And minus 6 is a pole 0 here. Minus 6 is a 0 here. That means a root locus is coming and terminating towards minus 6. So a root will be coming somewhere from this direction and it will be going towards this, and another root will be coming towards this and it will be going like this and like this. So now the root locus is merging on the real axis. Root locus is merging on the real axis. So this is a break-in point. See, you need to consider whether we have a pole or 0 in between that. We need to consider that. We need to check we have the pole or 0. And if it is a breakaway or break-in point, if it is in between zeros, that means it is a break-in point. If we get the roots in between zeros, that means it is a break-in point. If we get a root in between the poles, if we get root in between the poles, that means it is a breakaway point. If we get roots in between the poles, that is a breakaway point. If we get roots in between zeros, that will be a break-in point. Right? So both the cases, the root locus is present. So both are a valid breakaway or break-in point. So both are valid here. Both are valid. Why I am saying this as valid? But both the roots which are there are present on the root locus. Root locus exists in those 2 points. So both are valid here. Right. Step. Right. This is step number 6. Now coming on to the step number 7. What is step number 7? Is to find out the intersection with the imaginary axis. Right. To find out intersection, that is the determining the intersection point with the imaginary axis. Intersection points with imaginary axis. Right. When does the root locus roots go on to the imaginary axis? When we have the k marginal. Right? When we have the k marginal here. Marginal value of k will be having the root locus crosses the imaginary axis there. Right. So for that, what we need to consider? We need to consider the characteristic equation is given by 1 plus g of s into h of s here. Right. Characteristic equation we got here characteristic equation. I'll be considering this is the characteristic equation here. I'll be considering this as the characteristic equation. So for the characteristic equation, I have like this, that is s square plus 4s plus 3 plus k into s plus 6 is equals to 0 here. Right. So I'll write that one. S square plus 4s plus 3, s square plus 4s plus 3 plus k into s plus 6 is equals to 0. Right. I can consider this as directly and I can find out the root locus. Can I do that one? Can I do directly? I can take this one and can I do this one?
Yes, sir.
No, we cannot do because we have the s term here, right? In the this one k value. That if I do like that, I'll be getting like this here. That is s square, s raised to 1, s naught. So here will be 1, 4, and here will be 3. Again, we have one more term, that is k. Where you will be writing that one? So this I cannot do. So what I need to consider? I need to convert these things. Right? I need to convert in the readable form here. So what I need to do? I need to multiply the k here into the brackets and combine with the s term. So I can write s square plus 4s plus 3 plus k into s plus k into 6 is equals to 0. Now I can write this one as s square plus here 4s is there, ks is there. So I'll take out s common here. It is 4 plus k into s, and here these two are there. So I'll be writing that as one equation, that is 3 plus 6k is equals to 0. This is our readable form now. Right. So the equation we have got as s square into constant plus s plus constant here. This is how we need to convert here. So s square, coefficient of s square is what? Coefficient of s square is 1. Coefficient of s square is 1 and coefficient of s is 4 plus k. Coefficient of s is 4 plus k, and the constant here what we have is 3 plus 6k,
Plus 6k.
and this is 0.
0.
Right. So what will be this term? This term
3
will
plus
be
6k.
3 plus 6k here. Right. Whatever we have directly above that I can write. So this will be 0. Right. Now, what I need to consider? Which row I need to make 0 to have the k marginal? Right. This is the row I need to make 0 here. So to make the row 0, what is the formula? It is 4 plus k should be equated to 0 here. Right. When I equate that to 0, I'll get the k is equals to minus 4. K is equals to minus 4. This is the marginal value of k. K is equals to minus 4 is the marginal value of k here. Right. See here. Now, what I need to consider? I need to consider the above equation which is there on the k here. Right. In the previous questions, in the previous sums, see here, what was the value of k? K was 4. See here, the k was 4. When I go above, here the k was 48. See, here the k was 48. When you check other questions also, the value of k was 160. With this, what you can conclude here? What you can conclude here? All the questions we have the value of k as positive. The value of k was positive here, but in this the value of k is negative, right? In this the value of k is negative here, right? When we have the value of k as negative, that means the root locus does not intersect with the imaginary axis, right? This is the this is what you need to consider here. Since the value of k is negative here, the value of k is negative here, the root locus does not or will not crosses the imaginary axis. This is what you need to consider here. Hence, when we get the value of k is negative, that means root locus will not crosses the imaginary axis here, or it does not intersect with the imaginary axis here. Right. With this, what I can write here, with this here, we got to know the system is completely stable. Whatever might be the value of k, the system will be completely stable here. That means the root locus will not crosses this imaginary axis here. Right. So how we need to write down the root locus now? How we need to write down the root locus here? See here, we got to know one root is starting like this. I'll take any other color. Right. The root locus will be coming here like this in this direction. Right. And another root is coming here in this direction. Right. And here we'll be having the break away point, and here we'll be having the break in point. Right. So that means here it will be breaking away. Here it will be breaking away and merging with this one root. Another will be having the break away like this, and it will be merging here like this. Right.
Sir,
And
but we don't
one
know
root,
how high the route is going to travel, no, sir.
We don't know that one. This is just an like what? It's a rough sketch. It's a rough sketch. If you want to do that one, you need to start taking the value of k is equals to 1, 2, 3, and etc. For that, you need to find out the roots. S is equals to some values you'll be getting in 5 minutes. Right? We need to find out the value of k is equals to 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. So you will be having these things like this.
Okay, sir. So if you do this much is sufficient, no, sir?
Yeah, this is sufficient. We don't know this one how it is moving. So what you do, you measure the distance from here to here, and that will be your diameter, and make a circle. And you need to measure from distance from s is equals to 9.87 and s is equals to 2.13. You measure this distance and take a circle there. Right. So I'll be getting s is equals to, I think, somewhere around 6 here, somewhere here only you'll be getting the center point. You need to make a circle here. Right. This is how the root locus is coming. Now this is our break in point. See here, the root locus is coming and merging on the imaginary axis. One root is moving towards right like this. Another root is moving towards left here like this. Right. This is the root locus coming here, and another root is moving towards infinity, minus infinity. Right. And one it is comes and merges here on the s is equals to minus 6 here. This is the root locus plot what you need to draw. Right. Any doubts in this? Any doubts in this? And what is the stability criterion for this?
It's entirely stable, sir. Completely stable.
It is completely stable. You need to say the system is completely stable here. The system is completely stable here. What all you need to mark? Just see here. You need to mark the poles. S is equals to -1, s is equals to -3, s is equals to -60. You need to mark these 3 points. Right. After that, you need to mark the centroid. S is equals to 2, and angle of asymptote. S is equals to phi is equals to -180 degree here. Right. After that, you need to mark the break away point, break in point. You need to mark break away point and break in point. After that, you need to state the scale. X is equals to that is 1 centimeter is 1 unit, and y axis 1 centimeter is 1 unit. And you'll forget to mark this imaginary axis and the real axis. These things you need to remember. Right. In the graph, we will not see your whatever you are written in your answer sheets. We'll be seeing only the graph. If the graph is correct entirely, if the graph is correct, we'll move forward. Right. But here he has asked to construct the root locus. That's it. The question is to construct the root locus here. Not to solve the transfer function, not to find out the breakaway and break-in point. You need to state those things in your graph sheets. And this is important. Right?
So what about K marginal, sir?
K marginal, we won't be having any K marginal value because K marginal is this one minus 4. Right? It is minus 4 here. Right? When we have the negative value, there will be no marginal value because the system is completely stable. The
Oh,
system
yes,
is,
yes.
when the system is completely stable, it will not cross the imaginary axis there. Right? Only the when does the root locus touches the imaginary axis? When we have the marginal value of K, that is, or else when we have when the system is marginally stable. Right? So here the K is positive. We have the K as positive, but we should have the K as positive, but we have K as negative. That means the system is completely stable here. Right? We'll stop till here.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, I'll check whether any difficult problems is there in this. If there is any other problem which is little bit difficult, I'll solve that one. If all other problems are simple, that means I'll give you the notes. You just see, yeah, one more problem is difficult. It is there. The problem number 9. It's there in the notes. I'll solve that one, problem number 9, and one more problem I'll solve. After that, we'll go with the board applause. Right? Yeah, I'll just send you the attendance. Please fill the attendance in the chat box.